The rupee hitting another record low of 83.08 against the dollar, which means the rupee is now down over 14% this year. Priyanshi joining us with the latest on that. Priyanshi, now below that 83 mark, what next?
Well, yes, Ankita, yesterday rupee crossed that 83 to the dollar mark for the first time ever. And today, while it opened at 83.08, it has now even crossed 83.12. Currently, the rupee is trading at 83.12 against the dollar. What next? It could go on to 84 and 85 as well in the coming few months, because of course, just a few months ago, we saw the rupee was at 79, then it went to 80. 81, 82, and now it's 83. So just in a matter of few months, rupee has lost this much value. If we get you an overall figure, in the month of January, the rupee stood at around 74.50. And now in the month of October, it's at 83. So in a matter of 10 months, the rupee has lost 9 rupees of its value. So we are close to an average of 1 rupee per month. So if we take the same trend in the next couple of months, rupee could go down to 85 against the dollar. So by the end of this year, we could see a rate of around 85 against the dollar if this same rate continues. Overall, rupee has lost close to 14%, over 14% of its value just this year, from 74.50 to now 83.12 per dollar. If you tell you what are the reasons behind this, one of the primary reason is the dollar strengthening. That's what the finance minister also recently pointed out, saying that it's not just the rupee falling, but it's also the dollar strengthening. That is why a lot of major currencies are falling against the rupee. Now, the opposition criticized this statement a lot, and they said, and there were a lot of memes and cartoons made over this statement, but it's not technically wrong. Major currencies across the globe are being pulled down because of a strengthening dollar. The dollar is, remember, at a 2-decade high. It's the highest that it's been in close to 20 years. So that is why all other currencies that are compared against the dollar are falling compared to the dollar, because the dollar's rate is increasing. So for example, the pound and the yen have also lost close to 20% of their value against the dollar just this year, while rupee has lost 14%. So it's important to point out that it's not just the rupee, but major currencies that are falling. It's important to remember that we're living in uncertain and really unprecedented times with respect to the Ukraine war. And ever since the war started, interest rates were increasing across central banks. And that is why, and there have been fears of a global recession. Even the IMF said that next year will look like a recession for a lot of people. So when there are recession fears, investors take out money from emerging markets and they buy dollar-backed investments, because that's considered a safe currency. So that's why the demand for the dollar is rising. And when the demand rises, the rate for the dollar is also increasing. That's why the rate of rupee and other currencies is falling in comparison. Now, it's also, while we say that these are uncertain times and recession fears, many parameters are similar to how they were during the global recession of 2008. So all of that is important to keep in mind while we look at the rupee's plunge. But there are also some domestic factors. While the major factor continues to be the dollar strengthening, there are domestic factors as well, which is one of those factors are the rising imports. Our imports are rising every month. For the last few months, our imports are only rising. In September, in fact, our exports went down by 3%, but our imports are still rising. So when imports rise, that means that we give out more in terms of our foreign exchange and we receive less. So our trade deficit is increasing, which means that we are paying more in foreign currency, but we're receiving less in foreign currency. That's reducing the supply of foreign currency in our economy, and that's also taking its rate up while the rupee's rate is going down in comparison. But today, definitely a concerning new record low at 83.12 against the dollar.
Right. Priyanshi, thanks so much for that comprehensive update. Let's take this across to Vijay Sardana, economist and analyst, joining us on the program now. Vijay Sardana, do you see this as a matter of worry? Yes, Asian currencies are all perhaps being pulled down by the strengthening dollar, but the rupee at a record new low. And at the rate at which it's going, as our reporter also points out, are we likely to see 85 levels by the end of the year?
First of all, good morning to all of you. See, this is definitely a global phenomena which we are going through. Now, first of all, the start of depreciation of Indian currency against dollar is first major factor is increase in interest rate in US. Because of that, all the investments which are either in equity market or otherwise people are trying to, balance their balance sheet and sending dollar back because they have to meet those requirements of increasing interest rate, number one. Number two, the issue of uncertainty, that is the Ukraine war, which is going on, that is bringing our fuel bill or a lot of imported products which are going up. And one of the major investment is, if you look at, about 27% is basically crude and crude related imports in this country. Second is another major belt of import is our machineries and gold and precious metal. Now, considering this, my assessment is that till December, this devaluation will continue for two reasons. One is all the companies in US have to clean their balance sheets, whether it's the equity market or financial market. Nobody wants to have it under, open balance sheet end of the year.
Yeah.
It means for next 2 months, there will be challenges. Once the new year starts,
right,
then those
so
investors will look at India as a market.
You think it's likely that we could see 85 to the dollar by the end of the year?
I guess so, because
and why, in your opinion,
31st,
are we not seeing any further aggressive interventions from the RBI?
You see, point is that once you know there is a hole in the bottom, how much you want to use your precious currency which you have. So let the US Fed settle first. Let the international scenario, because during winter you may find some changes in Ukraine-Russia conflict, because there will be some pressure building within the Europe to resolve this problem. Right. So there are two things. One is financial year closing, and the winter impact on the local economy and population in Europe. These two things will bring some hope in the process of stabilizing global economy. So after January, I'm hopeful things will start changing back.
All right. Vijay Sardana, thanks so much for joining us.